It's been talked about for years, closing State Street to vehicular traffic and making it a pedestrian-friendly promenade. Since the COVID-19 pandemic, State Street is slowly transforming into the promenade that so many are hoping for. Yet there's so much more to do. And how does one go about designing such a large area? That's where Design Charrette comes into play.
Welcome everybody to the AIASB Design Charrette 2020.
A charrette is where stakeholders come together to collaborate on a design problem. It harnesses the talents and energies of all to look at the problem, provide input, and focus on the goal of solving that particular problem. The Santa Barbara chapter of American Institute of Architects conducted a 2020 design charrette for downtown. This charrette involved over 150 volunteers. That included architects, landscape architects, planners, engineers, and other interested parties.
It's so important for the city to be involved in the State Street design charrette process because great information really comes out of the collaborative process like a charrette. And there is seldom an opportunity like this to get ideas in the creative minds of over 150 architects in one place, focused on one area of our city.
Design is critical element. And without it, you can imagine that if you don't have the design part, then you may be spending more than you should, and you may not get as much as you would like. So I can't overemphasize the importance of design, careful design, and good design.
The COVID-19 pandemic created unique challenges to the charrette meetings. Charrettes are usually done in one day with everyone getting together, but that wasn't possible this time. Remarkably, the charrette meetings were done virtually.
This one was over a long period of time because of COVID, and so they've had to stretch everything out. So because of that, there's actually been a huge amount of additional time put into this, and there's been an amazing quality of work that's been done as well.
The charrette's very near and dear to my heart, and I think it's one of the most relevant things that AIA does with respect to our community, and really helps us as architects share what we do with the community towards solutions that the city might choose to take on policy-wise.
City Council has directed the Community Development Department to change policy and standards for multi-unit housing across the city, including downtown. The changes are needed to create more housing opportunities of all sizes and varieties and all income levels, so we can help facilitate lessening the housing imbalance that currently exists.
We received from the State Street charrette process some great building designs on blocks on either side of State Street, from the underpass up to the 900 block. These buildings had real data on how many units we could get in that building size and in the downtown area. As you and most people are aware in this city, we are really in a housing crisis, and having this data will help us inform future changes to standards for larger apartment and condo buildings in the downtown area.
We need to focus the sort of higher density housing opportunities in our downtown area. There are a lot of underutilized, underdeveloped sites. There are city-owned parking lots that are just single level on the ground parking lots that could easily be developed with housing and also obviously provide parking that's needed. So what I see is we have very strong architectural design standards for a downtown, and those standards have served us really well to create a beautiful downtown and to continue to allow that to evolve.
If we have people living and working in downtown, then it's automatically a vital area. It's when they don't live, if nobody lives downtown, they just come down to go to the store and then they get in their car and drive home, then we have an unsustainable community.
The AIA charrette, in collaboration with the City Planning Division, was designed to illustrate solutions to the downtown area if housing were here. Having housing downtown will support the commercial aspect of State Street in terms of expanding types of businesses that will be relevant and important to more of a neighborhood vibe.
How traditional cities flourish, it's usually with public zones on the ground floor with more residential and private above. So I think that makes a lot of sense for this city. Part of it is how to do it now, especially with existing historic structures, and how that gets worked into. But I don't think it's as, and I think this Charrette has shown, it's not as hard a problem as we think. And so a lot of the teams came up with very good examples that are actually very traditional in their approach in terms of a beautiful traditional city, of having that more public zone on the bottom floor and then having the more private above.
Close down State Street and make it a pedestrian promenade. It's so much more friendly, and you bump into people and interact with people. And then you also, not only that, you're not only just going up and down State Street, you're discovering some of these side neighborhoods like this where we are right now, this incredibly beautiful spot. If people are on foot, they will tend to wander down. And so there's, you know, the Funk Zone is a great place to discover. The Presidio neighborhood where we are now, the Arts District, the Haley Corridor, we were discovering all these little sub-neighborhoods.
Adding housing is essential for the vitalization of downtown. But how do we keep the historic architecture and charm? One possibility is to look to Santa Barbara's past designs. Just walk into the David Gebhard room at the city's Community Development Building. The walls have architectural design elevations of State Street from the 1920s. These elevations proposed a bigger and denser downtown than what we have today.
We can actually use the historic guides that we already have built into the city as a way of adding what we need to solve for now, which is additional housing.
We can make it happen here in Santa Barbara, create an environment that not only nurtures and enhances, but sustains the vitality of our downtown and the beauty of our downtown, all the architectural character, and enhance that and make it available for people to enjoy long into the future.
The revitalization of downtown isn't just about the buildings and the design of the street. It's also about environmental well-being. Landscaping will play a crucial role by helping to clean stormwater of urban pollutants.
We're using plants in certain areas to filter the dirtier water. And those are the opportunities we see. And most people in the design charrette really saw an expansion of landscape. Where could we have a little bit more landscaping? And some of us look at it saying, well, whatever landscaping we add should be environmentally beneficial. We should pick those plants that are not only drought tolerant, but plants that can help clean that stormwater.
People overwhelmingly want State Street to become a space for pedestrians and bicyclists, for performances and public art, and all kinds of civic activities. The new design of downtown needs to be creative and something new and different, but blends well, meshing the old and new.
Historic and traditional architects all throughout time, it's always been innovation and creativity. And you look at Michelangelo and what his Italian Renaissance architecture is like compared to all of his predecessors. And if you know Michelangelo's architecture enough, pretty quickly you can spot out, oh, that doorway is by Michelangelo. He likes to play with elements a certain way. He has his own sort of somewhat style, but at the same time it all ties together. It's all Italian Renaissance. It all has the language and there's different creative expressions of it. And so I think creativity and innovation should really be thought of in that way, as how can we create and innovate within a framework that makes it better than what it is, not just different.
The arts are so important. They are the root. Everything. When I first came to Santa Barbara over 30 years ago, I came here because it was such a beautiful city and it was a classic pattern. And it was full of art and really unusual, interesting art. So we are a town, in my mind, we are a town of incredible artists.
You can definitely put public art within a landscaped area. You could use low-lying landscape to surround and give context to a piece of public art.
Additionally, other departments in the city are using the information that the Charrette gathered on State Street to do increasing improvements to the look and feel of State Street as no longer car-centric, but as pedestrian and cycle-centric.
Again, with other things like the rideshare bicycles, and I just think, the more activity, the better. And for all different age groups and demographics and visitors and locals.
More affordable housing, pedestrian promenade, innovative and creative. These are all just a few things that people hope will make State Street a vibrant place to live, work, and play.
Essentially, it turns downtown from more of a purely retail tourist to perhaps something more like a neighborhood.
We'll see more beautiful buildings developed on some of these opportunity sites, and we may see some even existing buildings that are no longer needed for commercial uses or office uses be converted into housing.
And so the more that we can look to the past and look to the future at the same time, to understand that it was the creativity of those former designers and architects that gave us what we love so much now. Let's move forward into the future and see what kind of creativity our designers and architects of today will give, while also respecting and enhancing what we currently have.
No one knows for sure what the future of State Street will be, but the AIA Design Charrette is a great start to a beautiful road ahead.